Hi! I'm going to show you how to thread eyebrows. I learned from WikiHow and I picked up on it through there, and so if I'm doing it wrong or doing it incorrectly, whatever, it still works for me. And so I'm just going to show you how to do it. When I first started out, I actually started with floss, like practicing with floss. So if you don't have any eyebrow thread, like, you can definitely practice with floss. It just gets like minty and like it might sting a little bit because it's really minty, but it wasn't until later when I was like, okay, I think I'm ready to like start practicing with it. I bought a box of eyebrow thread, and I think it came with like 12 of these, so I have like a lot. Like, a lot is going to, this one spool is going to last me so long. So what I did, or what I do when I first start, is that I wash my hands, because there's like a lot of oils and I'm touching faces, and like, because that's where I thread, so I don't want it to get really oily or anything. And then I take the spool and I measure it out. I'm gonna measure out my arm length, and I measure it out, and I just measure it kind of like my arm length, anything. And I know you probably go through like mid chest. My arms are pretty long, in my opinion, so I'm gonna cut it right here. And after you cut it, you're going to take the two ends, and then you're going to tie it like this. You're going to double knot it like this. If this can focus, maybe. No, not focusing. Alright, my camera's not that smart. It's alright. Anyways, it's tied in a knot. I don't know, can you see it? Okay, double knotted. It's going to be in a little loop. And then you're going to take this loop and you're going to put both hands at the edges, and you're going to twist it, and I'm gonna hold this one in place so you can see it a little bit better. I know my camera isn't really the best, but I twist it. This is once, this is twice, this is 3 times, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now you can twist it. They like tell you like between like 6 and 8 twists, but I always just go for 8. And then so to start practicing, I would suggest a bigger surface like your lip, like, and then you want to thread where you haven't, like, I would say waxed or plucked in the past like week or so, just so that you're not constantly plucking and irritating your skin, because you don't want, and then like you need to let the hair grow long enough for the thread to catch on. So I would typically do, like, I would do my lip once a month, and then my eyebrow hair I do either twice every 2 weeks or even once a month. So I just kind of let it grow out, so that way it's easier to catch with the hair. I think the more times that you do it, like if you do it every 2 weeks or so, you get more tolerant of the pain. So if that's something that you're like, oh, I want to do this, but it hurts a lot, like, it doesn't hurt after a while, you kind of get used to it. And sometimes I'm like, okay, I just needed this pain. I don't know, it's weird. But anyways, I'm gonna take the lip, for example, and we'll start there, and I'll teach you how to do eyebrows. So with the lip, you're gonna take your tongue and you're gonna place them all over your front row teeth. So it's gonna be like that. That way this surface is more expanded, and you can, like, you'll be able to catch all the hairs in a row. So with that thread, I'm still holding it, by the way. With that thread, I start with the thread closest to my dominant hand, which is my right hand in this case, and this is also going to help with the direction of where you want your hair to grow, or to be plucked. So when you're taking hair from your lip on this side, you're going to want to start with this left hand up, and then you're going to increase, I'm just going to pretend I'm on my skin. You're going to increase the length of your right hand and then have this string go against your skin, because you want to not only pluck going this way, but you also want to make sure you're going upwards, so it's kind of more slant. And then with the other side, if that made sense. Okay, with the other side, I start with my right hand up, and then you increase with your left hand. Now, if you're right-handed, it might be harder because like your left hand's actually going to be the one dominating, and it actually gets harder the longer your string is. Now, I always like to have it a little bit like a smaller length of string, just so that I can have more control going back and forth like this, because if you have such a long string, you're not going to be able to extend your hand like this and also get as much hair pulled with this part being here. I know it's like a lot of words, okay, but hopefully you got all that, or I explained that all correctly. So I'm going to take my upper lip, and I'm going to have this left hand again open first, say open first, and then I'm going to press it, and then where this opening is where you're going to start, where I would start wherever that hair kind of ends, and it's not like growing, well, like wherever you want to start there. I'll go a little bit slower. I'm so like in the zone. Anyways, yeah, I looked funny. I had it up like this again, and I had it pressed onto my skin, like where this part is. And then wherever you are going, you want to be pretty flexible in moving it. So this is my right hand, my dominant hand is controlling where I'm going, if that makes sense. So that would be that portion, and sorry, I'm also like looking at this mirror over here so I know where I'm plucking. So yeah, that would be what you do for the lip, and then just keep practicing. It's a little weird, and not every time when I like do my eyebrow threading, like it's not every time that I get the string right. It's like sometimes I'll cut it way too short, and then my fingers are super close to where it's threading and I don't have any flexibility, or sometimes I cut it too long, and this string is so flimsy I can't go like this very easily. So I would suggest like you feel it out. Like if your hand extends just about this much, like if it can extend this much and you don't have extra string like that's like hanging off of your fingers or anything, then you're at a good spot, excuse me. So that way, like if you can see, mine's kind of at a perfect length to where when I extend my hand to what I want it to look like, kind of like the C shape, then however I want to extend it, there's not any excess string above it, and I can still feel this middle part going back and forth like this. And then with my eyebrows, I'm going to see if I can hold my mirror up here underneath the camera. So what you're going to do with eyebrows, and I'll bend down just a little bit. What you're going to do with eyebrows, so you want to make sure, I would remove any like foundation, or if you have like a lot of eyeshadow or concealer, whatever it is, I usually just wipe it down with a tissue, and sometimes I will remove like eyebrow powder right there. I'll remove that just so that I can see where the natural, like where I should be plucking. But when you're doing this for yourself, it's actually also very you are only going to get one, you're only going to get this top part, because you aren't able to get this bottom part, because if you realize, like, when you go somewhere to get your eyebrows done, they ask you to hold your eyebrows, like, so that they can get underneath here. Pretty much everybody has excess skin right here, and that when you're going through and threading eyebrows, you're actually going to tug skin with it, and then you'll cut yourself. So I actually did that with floss, and it was a very sharp, minty cut, and you don't want to do that with your floss at home. So don't I wouldn't say attempt here, because there is a little bit more skin than I would say like people like above the eyebrow. And that's also a reason when we're doing the lip is that we put our tongue over the front teeth, is just so that any skin here is more stretched out, so it's firmer and tighter, and you won't be pulling skin and cutting yourself. So I think there's like a scar here when I first started out of me, and I started with this when I was starting out with this thread. I cut myself because I didn't realize how like I was supposed to be tugging here, and then I like found out like, oh, you're supposed to, that's why they always tell you like, hey, hold this, and then maybe your hands get a little sore, but like it's for your own safety. So I would just go, if you're doing things like threading at home, I would just go and take some tweezers and pluck underneath. I know it's a little tedious and it might hurt more, but like, or you can go ahead and wax that part, but just keep it consistent. Don't thread and then wax and then the next time you thread. It's actually bad for your skin, and you want to keep it, like if you're still waxing, just wax. If you're still threading, just thread. If you're just tweezing, I mean, like, it's really similar to threading, so you can do either or. It's very interchangeable. And if you're don't try to razor. I hate this. When people razor and then they come in and they want to wax, that's like very irritating, because when you shave your hair, it actually creates it a little bit, like it causes your hair to be a little bit different thickness, and it's a different kind of growth, I would say. So even waxing doesn't get everything, or sometimes like threading was a little bit more difficult. I don't know, just stick with one thing and do that thing. If you are a waxer and now you're trying to thread, like that's fine, like just keep it consistent and don't go like every other week changing it up, because it's also really just it's so bad. Okay, anyways, but little rant, mini rant, sorry. So I hope my camera gets clear. What am I focusing on? Can you see? Is that better? Okay, I was going the wrong way. I'm like opposite, so I did the wrong way. Anyways, so again, this is the hand. My left hand is the one that's open because it's dominating, and so I'm gonna take my right hand. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, this focus is like really bugging me, and I'm just gonna go across my skin like that. And when you're first starting off, I wouldn't start too close to your natural. Okay, I wouldn't start too close to your natural line. I would just thread what you can until you get really good at it, and then take your tweezers and then go very close to your and create that shape that you're trying to create. So threading is just really going to help with all the little hairs, and all the hairs that you probably think aren't there, but they are there because your face just grows hair everywhere. That's going to help get rid of all of those extra hairs, and it's also going to, you're going to see like a brightening of your skin up there, like in my opinion. Because once all that hair is gone, then you're like, oh my god, the next day you're like, wow, like my face is so much brighter up there, I don't know, and your eyebrows just looking like more sharp and sleek, and it's a great feeling. So definitely try it at home, get you some eyebrow thread, practice with that floss, and I would practice on your lip because it's a bigger surface, and it's just try not to have it so minty. And this is gonna be the floss that, I don't know if you can, oh my camera, I just gotta focus it on. Holding floss with one hand and focusing it on the other. Why is this not working? Wow, how do YouTubers do this? I don't know. I'm just trying to show you the thickness of this string, but dang, my camera's not picking it up. Why am I not focusing this? Oh, it's focusing. Haha, I was doing it the wrong way. I'm sorry. Oh, can you see that? Wow, yeah. Yeah, people have like some fancy floss at home. I have this cheap Reach mint wax floss at home, so that's as thin. Oh my gosh, can you see it still? Okay, there. I lost the floss. But that's as thin as my floss, so, and it's also kind of, I would say, like, it's got a rougher end to it. So if you have floss like that, like, definitely you can go and try it if you don't want to like purchase this just yet. Oh. I should have had it on auto. Okay, is that better? Yeah. So, I mean, this is inexpensive too. Like, for the amount of time that I've had, like, for as long as I've had this and used this and like threaded so many other people's like eyebrows and lips and everything, like, it's so worth it, like, for a box. And seriously, I still have so many unused ones, so it's inexpensive, definitely worth it, especially if you're just trying to look for more at-home options. But yeah, that's really it. I'm not going to thread anymore because I get really red and I remain red for the rest of the day just because my skin's so sensitive. But again, when you're doing your lip, there's some last minute tips. Just put your tongue over the front row of your teeth so you extend that skin out and you're not cutting yourself or hurting yourself, especially going like this. I will say that your more dominant hand, like my right's my more dominant hand, that is probably the easiest direction you could do threading. So sometimes I'm like so bad. I know you're supposed to go this way on yourself because of the direction of the hair. So on the opposite side of my face, on my left side of the face, I will extend this part and move this one up this way. But honestly, sometimes it's so hard. I just start going with my right hand because it's just faster and it'll take me 10 times longer to do this. I would suggest that you practice it that way so you're a good citizen and doing your threading correctly because it's going the direction of your hair growth, or opposite of the direction of your hair growth. So you should do that, but I don't. I should get better. Haha. But it's a lot easier. If not, just thread. I mean, not thread. Just pluck. It's okay too. You start plucking on this side. I will say it's probably like the hardest skill to learn out of eyebrow threading. Like, when I do other people, it's very easy because first of all, it's like it's someone else. So you can lean over and you can just keep using this hand, and if you want to do the other side of their face, you just turn your whole body and then you thread the other half of their face. So it's like, that's easier, but just doing it on yourself is a little bit harder, but it's still manageable. Like, I wouldn't like try to defer you away from trying to do this and learn this at home. So but yeah, that's my very long tutorial, and sorry, but hopefully you learn from this. Practice with floss, get yourself a pack, I don't know. Okay, bye.